Hello, everybody, and welcome to aga-cad's webinar, Smart Browser, Collect and Control Revit Families. Today I'll be your host. My name is Alex Sheja, and I'm working in aga-cad as a BIM application engineer. And as a company, we create applications for Autodesk Revit based on the needs of the world's leading BIM practitioners. And what we do, we eliminate tasks that do not create value. Through the years, we have developed the widest range of true BIM software in the world of Revit professionals. That includes metal framing tools, wood framing tools, precast concrete design, including our new tools for reinforcement, MEP system design and tools surrounding that, and our most general tool, Smart Browser, which would be useful for almost every Revit user, and today we'll speak specifically about this one. Smart Browser is a modular tool. That means it has 3 different modules, and it's dedicated both for single users and for the teams. So the single users can have the highest version, the Smart Browser BIM Manager, and do all the modifications with their families and so on. For the teams, it's easier to divide users into 3 groups. So the BIM manager will have access to creation of libraries, modifications of those libraries, having a control over Revit projects and family versions. So the ability to mass upgrade families in libraries, such features as transfer of family units, modifying families inside the Smart Browser, mass modification, and he can both load it to the company server and extract data from there. As for the team leader, he will be able to create libraries, load libraries that were created already by the BIM manager. He will see all the families, will be able to work with them in the project, but there will be no possibility to modify the families themselves through the Smart Browser. And as for the Smart Browser team member, those users only have access to the file which contains library information. So they will receive the library with all the elements will be shown for them, but they will not be able to either to create new libraries or to modify the families inside the library. They'll be able only to use those elements inside of their projects. And what we'll cover today is how the Smart Browser works, what is possible to achieve with this tool, time-saving features, how to modify families, what is possible to be modified for the families, and as well as that, we will touch one more tool which comes in a bundle with the Smart Browser BIM Manager. That tool is called BIM Tree Manager, and that tool is specifically dedicated to work with models that you have. And then we will end up with the created family library. Some elements in that library will be modified. Those modifications will be loaded into project. For some families, units will be changed. And as well as that, we will add some additional information to the families which are elements which are already present in the model. Very useful information about the, for example, furniture, to which room that furniture belongs to. With our tools, that's possible to extract that information. And with that, let's go to the live demonstration. That's my office apartment building on which I will show what is possible. And with our tool, everything begins with our tools for BIM Manager. You can download it from our website. At the end of this webinar, I will show the link and how to do that. After you install it, it will appear on your toolbar. You simply click Hide or Show Dock. It will look like this one. It's a dockable window. You can move it around. And through here, it'll be possible to activate any of the trials you would want to have for any of our tools, as well as enter codes for your licenses. And Smart Browser would look like this. I have all the modules, BIM Manager, Team Leader, and Team Member. As you see, BIM Manager consists of 2 tools. And you can have all the comments and work with the tool through our tools for BIM Doc. As well as that, there is a question mark upon pressing which you will be directed to our eHelp page, where there will be a short introductory videos on how to start using this tool. As well as that, there is this small icon upon pressing which it will add this tool to your toolbar for easier use. That's what I prefer to do, and I have all these tools on my toolbar. So I will close our Tools for BIM dock, so I would have a little bit more space on my screen. And the tool I will be showing today the most is the Smart Browser BIM Manager. And to browse the library of elements, you can simply click this button. Right now here I have created one library for this webinar, and I have multiple elements loaded in this library. Users who have our tools, they're not limited in any amount of libraries that they would want to create. Right now I have 5. It would be possible to create 6, 20, or 50. How those libraries would look like, you're just dedicating a specific space where XML file will be stored, and into that XML file, information will be loaded, and you choose from which folders families should be taken, and information from those families should be loaded into that XML. So elements stay in their respective folders. You only get information about them through the XML. And as well as that, it's needed to create one more path where our tool would save PNG files or DVF if you choose to create those, so it would be possible to show the families in this window. And if some modifications were done by hand to the library, or some other user loaded some modifications, for example, BIM manager loaded changes, team leaders and other BIM managers will see this orange button, which means that some changes were made and you can load those to your XML of this library. So I'm clicking this one, and I think there'll be a few families added. Well, some elements removed and some added. And yes, it's possible to create many libraries, have as many elements in your libraries as you want. For control of these families, we have search tree. You will have a possibility to choose, for example, to see just columns, just detail items. Right now it goes by the year of the family and by the category. It's fairly easy to see, to change. I could change not to show by version, but by category and folder. Okay. Well, I have just one folder, library, and I should make it, of course, the most important one, folder, library, and then all my elements go. And it would work with all the RFA families. It would not work with the system families. As long as you can keep families outside of the Revit project, they can be loaded into our Smart Browser. So would those be title blocks, annotations, detail items, or just regular families? All that is possible to be represented. Also, when you have a lot of families in your Smart Browser, you can do search and search by family name, type name, by some specific parameter, and so on. A lot of variations. And in this window, right now we see large thumbnails. It's possible to change view as well as that to the medium thumbnails and to the list. Inside the list, you will see the names of the families, category they belong to, version, and file location. So if there are a few folders from which families are loaded, it's fairly easy to see through here in which folder they're located. I will go to thumbnails. The next function, what is possible to see with our tool, is, for example, we have some furniture elements. I can choose to open the parameter window, and it's possible to see all the parameters which are present in that family. So we can see the names, grouping of the parameter, values, if there is some formula entered, or what units for the families are used. So for example, for this one, it's millimeters for the length. And it's possible for all the families. Then when working with this tool, if you want to load families to your project, there are quite a few ways. First one would be the simplest one. Just take and drag the family into your project. So now it is loaded, it's in your project tree, and you can use it through here. When families are loaded, library is not as relevant, but we have project browser as well, which checks all the families present in the project. So you can browse through here and again, open families or drag them to your window. And while working with the family library, it's possible to open family, load selected family types. So for example, if I have here, well, here's only one type, but for the bed, I have 3 types. I could choose to load only the specific type which is chosen right now. Then I could do choose types to load. So I will have a window and I can load only the types that I need. And the last one is load selected families. That's in case if I'm choosing many families at once, I can press this button and load all of those at once. And the last button is 3D preview. That's in case you want to see how the family looks like by itself. These files are created when creating a library, and you can opt in or opt out. Do you want those to be created or not? And you can change here through the views which are present in that family. So this is the general possibilities of this tool, which would be available for BIM managers, team leaders, and team members. Exception that team members wouldn't be able to create their own libraries. They would have to use the ones that were created by other users. And now let's go to the functionality which is specific for BIM managers. And let's work with some families. Let's take a TV, tableland, and also round table. So we would have a diameter somewhere there between the parameters. It's possible to click on Modify Families. You will be writing the name of the task, webinar modification. Okay, and then when creating library, I forgot to mention, there will be special windows where you can write company name by whom this library was created. So now we have to fill out data, who is modifying this library, and notes if any of those are needed. So person who modifies me for webinar, notes, nothing so far. And after we do some modifications to the families, inside the notes, our tool will automatically write down all the modifications that were made. So in doing that, we will open the window where all those families with their types will be shown. And here we have some color coding for the parameters. So right now we have yellow, light brown. So these are type parameters used in Smart Browser grouping, the yellow ones. So we can change configuration. Maybe we don't want to see category. I can turn off the category. And we'll see only family and type names. Also, we can do different filtering through those families, but in general, we can modify them all at once. And for main modifications, we would have to click on the Select Parameters and choose the parameters that we would want to see and modify. So let's go with the size parameters. And diameter, height, length. Okay, and I will move the text parameters a little bit down. And remove type comments. Those are not very needed. Okay. And now what is possible to do through this modification window? In general, everything that would be possible to do through family modification, through the Revit, with the exception that it wouldn't be possible to assign parameters to some dimensions. Since we don't have geometry represented here, we cannot assign parameters. But let's start from the beginning. Category. It's possible to change the category. Just clicking modify the category, and we have a whole list of all the categories possible inside the Revit, and we can change the categories. Family name, just changing rename family. Also, it's possible to delete family. It will simply delete family from your library. Type names. It's possible to rename type, add types, and there is one more feature, rename type by rule. What does it do? For example, for the table, we have some different type names, and they're connected height, length, probably to the width, which was not added. Yes, so it's length times width. Maybe we would want these families to have type names according width times height. It's as easy as rename type by rule, width, height, x, and we'll have width times height. And this can be done not just for one family, but for all the families that are seen right here. The next thing is parameter modification. Well, of course, we can fill out values for parameters one by one or a lot at once. Then, if it's needed, we can copy some values from one parameter to another. So I can choose all this column, copy value to description, and value is copied. Formulas. If there are some formulas inside the family, we can modify formula or remove the formula. So modify the formula only opens the formula and we can add whatever we need. Also, in some parameters, we can enter formulas just by add formula. Then going to parameters themselves. For example, in this flat screen TV, the height and length are shortened H and L. As it's a singular element, maybe it's not that bad, but when we're creating our company library, which would be comfortable to use for all the users, of course we want parameters to be as similar as possible. So what would be needed to do here is rename parameter, choosing height, and it looks like these parameters joined, but what happened actually is the name of the parameter got changed. So for the length, we can do the same. Rename parameter, length. And it's already nicer to look at this. Then, of course, we can add parameters. Let's add to all the families at once. There's a possibility to add family parameters. New one, choosing the group and the type of the parameter. Is it instance or type parameter? Then we can add shared parameters, same as we would do with regular Revit modifications. I'll choose this one. We're loading the list of shared parameters and choosing which ones we want to load. So let's add, well, rod coordinates not interesting, rod length and second rod length. And let's make one of those parameters instance and another will be kept as a type. So first rod length will be instance, second rod length will be a type parameter. Okay, and we have two new parameters added. It's done very fast only because here we are creating just a task for the tool, what should be done when modifying the families. Right now, the real modification is not happening yet, but we create the task. After we did what we had to do, we can click on the save, and like I mentioned before, in the notes, there will be all the changes written down. So later you can access that file and read all what was changed. Clicking OK to save. Well, saving once again. And then maybe there were a few hundred families that you were working on and you are not ready to let this modification window go, but you have to go home because the workday has finished. No worries, you can close that file. And when you come back the next day, you just click on Modify Families and you start from the same spot where you have left. But if everything is okay and you want to run those modifications through your library, you just need to choose this modification and run it through the families. So this is the step when our tool in the background opens every single family and does those modifications. And that's when, if you would have families of lower version, they would be updated to the 2021 version. And let's see our flat screen TV. First rod length, cost was added. Type name, well, I didn't change for this one. and second rod length here is between the parameters. So when the changes are made, we can load all this information into the project. How that would be done? There is a check and update families from library. And when we do that, we can choose which library we want to compare to our project. Do we want to check instance parameters or not? Sometimes it's crucial. We do start checking, and Revit, our tool, goes through all the families which are present in the project, compares them to the library, and shows all the differences. So yes, we have added few parameters, a few cost values, and some new types. Some types were named, so there will be kind of new types. And let's go and reload all the parameter values that I've changed and add all the new information. Clicking on Reload Families will just push this information into the project. And it shows 2 out of 3. I guess because it didn't find any of these types inside the project. Yeah, it didn't find the new freshly named types of the tables. So all the tables have different type names, so those changes were not loaded. And this happens because type name is kind of unique parameter. And if we rename types, it would be just needed from the library, just load new types and use them in the project. Later in the project, it's possible to work with them through our BIM tree manager and change one with another if it's needed. So yeah, we did changes to a flat TV screen. Where is it in the project? Right here. And did it go through? Okay, first rod length, 1 instance parameter was added. Second rod length was the type parameter. It's added here. Some cost value added, copied to description, and nothing else was, I guess nothing else was changed for this family. Oh, new one, new type parameter. So yeah, that's how the general workflow would be. Since last year, we've also added one more tool to our smart browser, BIM Manager. It's called SortMark. And regularly we have this tool to work inside the project, but this version is specifically created to work with the families outside of the Revit environment. So here we can create specific marks according to the rules that we have, maybe according to some parameters, names, and so on. So let's work with planting. Let's modify some planting. We can choose parameter into which our new mark will be written to, model, okay? And here we can choose different grouping. Maybe we want to group by family. So every single family, numeration will start from 1 and go upwards. Filtering, since we're working with all the planting right now, maybe we want to work with only specific type of planting, so we can do filtering by family name type or any other parameter. Sorting, for this plants, they have different height, so I will do sorting by the height. So the lowest plant will have number 1 and the highest one will be number whatever it comes. Then the numbering, the numbers will be given to every single type. So sorting by the height, and every single type will receive its own number. And then we're creating sort mark value, which will be a new parameter entered into model window as a text. It will consist of 2 digits. We'll start with plant dash and then according to the height. So if I do that, the tool will open every family, create new marks, and represent them in the window. 3 elements were upgraded, and let me go to those plants. Planting. Here it is. So plant tropical, agave, 0.45 meters, and it's a plant 1. It's the shortest one. And the next one after this goes 0.6 meters, and it's 0.3. Why 0.3? Because another out of these 3 plants has some smaller value, 0.56. So this one will be 0, 2. Then the next height will go 0, 3. And probably 0, 8 already, 0, 6. So somewhere in between those are a few more values. Oh yeah, 4.5, 5.6, 5.5, 3.1, and so on. 3 meters, 3 meters. Yes, of course it reaches the 8. So that's how this sort mark works in the library environment. A few more things. Things that I've mentioned before, it's possible to convert in mass family versions. If you have some folder with families of version 2016, 17, and so on, it's possible to choose that folder, run it through this Revit version, and all the families will be updated to the current version. And the one I wanted to show, there is a transfer family units. In my folder here, I have some metric families, which have metric units. I click UN, metric units. We can change with this tool a whole bunch of families according to some template. So if I do transfer family units, I will need to choose that folder, select folder with the families that I want to modify. That would be my smart browser, webinars, today's webinar. I think it's in library. Update my metric families. And then I have to choose the template which will be applied. And I will choose one family with imperial units. For that, I will go back to my project, and here I have just placed one family with imperial units. And then I can choose, just to see how it will work, do I want to delete created backups? I can choose yes or no, backups will stay or will be deleted. And if I go here, you will see how our tool works. It opens every single family, applies that unit configuration, and after it ends, it will delete all the backups. So right now, after it finishes, if I open one of the families, it will have imperial units. Successfully transferred units, backups deleted, and let's open the ceiling light units, and we have square feet, feet squared, pounds, miles per hour, and well, all the imperial units. So that's one of other features of the smart browser. And now let's quickly go to the bin tree manager. It will not take too much time, just a few things that I want to show. Like I said, this tool already works with the elements inside of your project, not with the library elements. So we can analyze anything what is in the project. That would start with the families, and we can analyze few categories at once. That will kind of give us a schedule, but with more possibilities to do modifications. So I can choose air terminals, ceilings, columns, and so on. But also it's possible to go and see the rooms, spaces. I can choose to see views, and I will have a list of all the views in my project with all their settings. Well, also it's possible to do annotation categories, analytical categories. I can quickly open views. It will analyze my project and show me the list of the views that I have. So it's what kind of view, elevation, or 3D, legend, section, type of the view, that meaning the name of the view, what callout tags are assigned, of course, wash material, all other different parameters, and we see a lot of them here. View scale. If some parameters are missing, here will be a list of all the parameters that are present in views, and you can choose and work with them. Oh, also, I forgot to mention, with the smart browser, when modifying families, it's also possible to change materials. So yeah, we can do different modifications here. I would want to show two things. Working just with furniture, we'll create, again, with the sort mark, number the furniture according to level and to the room which they are, specifically chairs. And then we will calculate the flooring area and wall surface area for every single room. This tool can do it as well. So later you can have the finishing materials according to the room and export that to Excel. And with the furniture, It will analyze all the elements in the project. We have 5 full levels, so different stands, bed boxes, and so on. But I want to only create some marks for chairs. Here will be some comments that we can use. And there is that sort mark. So I will do some smart numbering, grouping according to the level. So on every level, numbers will begin from 1 and go upwards. Filtering according to the name. If it contains chair, then those elements will be numbered according to ID. So every single chair will receive its own personal number. And sorting, they'll be sorted according to the room number. So in one room, there'll be a set of chairs. And creating a sort mark where I will copy room number. It's possible to extract data about to which room or space elements belong to. As you will see here in this table here, acts like a schedule. I can see room name and room number. Those parameters are not represented for general user in Revit, but they are written in Revit API. We can extract that data and write it into the families. So I could transfer to the mark of every furniture element or lighting fixture or, well, any other element which is placed inside the room or space, to which room name and to which room number they belong to. And that's what kind of I will do here. I will create a mark value, which will consist of chair. Then we'll go room number. So for this chair, it will be chair A03, then dash, and calculate sort mark number. So that's the number that our tool will assign to that chair. If I run it, we will see chair 01 according to the room. And for the next level, where are my chairs? Table, chair. Chair B, and like I said, they're grouped by level. So on every level, chairs will begin from 0, 1. And if I click now on the chairs, out of all the furniture, they will be the ones who have A04, 10, 8. So I guess this one will be 9 and 11. Oh, this one is also a chair, so 07. Tables, sofas, and everything else will not have these numbers. So yeah, that's possible to do that. And the last thing about the rooms, extracting data from rooms. And this will be right here, rooms. I'll have a few columns added, level they belong to, type, that being the name and number, area, perimeter, volume. If I need some other column to see some other parameter, I can add it. But what's interesting, I can choose all the rooms at once and show rooms data. And that's the one which will calculate the surface area of finishes of walls, floors. If there's assigned some finishing material, it will show. So we can do by ceiling height or by room wall height. Well, room wall height will be our choice for today. And we will have a list. Okay. Oh, that's too big. Well, we have balconies. Yeah, starts with BA, so the first letters. Right now there's shown room name, room area, for area gross, area net, so that's excluding some windows if there are present any. And here we will see finishing materials. So here's a concrete, oak flooring, and oak wall. For the rooms, if we see a bath here, it'll be birch, I guess that's for the flooring, and gypsum wall boards. And we have the area of those boards. And here we can do, again, different configuration. Maybe we don't want to see here room name, just room numbers. So it will be sorted by the room number right now. Before it was by the room name, so right now it goes A01 and so forth. All this information can be just exported to the Excel, and you can use it in the scheduling. Yeah, I don't need this one. So yes, that's how it's possible to work with this tool. That would be all what I wanted to show. We have free trials, 14-day trials. You can download it from our website. Our website is aga-cad.com. And here on the bottom right, you will see free trials and a link to download doc. Also here will be a small video instruction on how to install it and start using it. After you've done that, again, for every single tool, there will be eHelp button where you will find instructions on how to install and how to start using that tool. That would be it from the main part of this webinar. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and have a nice day.
aga-cad, building BIM together.